Hello and welcome back to Rogue Trader. We have a base, we have somewhere where we can move out from, but we also have an opportunity to slow down, talk to some of our companions, and also potentially talk to some of our prisoners, which I think will be quite interesting. Before we do, however, there is a question from the comments that I want to answer because it is kind of important to understanding what we're doing in combat. So, the question was, how does Argenta do so much damage with this absolute garbage weapon? So, the weapon is 3 to 5 damage, and it has 10 shots. So initially, in combat, if you're doing a burst fire, you could do, say, if you hit every shot, 30 to 50 damage on a target, which is not as bad as it seems, assuming they have no deflection, which actually I don't think a lot of enemies here do have deflection. But that doesn't really explain it, because enemies have a lot more health and she's doing a lot more damage. So, what's the deal? Well, the answer is that she has a feature called versatility. So if we go in here and have a look at this, versatility, this one gives her extra damage based upon her ballistic skill. So if she reaches 4 stacks of versatility, which we do on turn 1, so turn 1 is always lower damage, but on turn 1 we hit that, and suddenly she gains, because let's say that we're on 4 stacks, which is where it triggers, she would have 90 ballistic skill, and that would be 3 times 9, which is 27 bonus damage, 27% bonus damage. So effectively, it's an extra third damage added on top of what we had previously, which is a good start, but it still doesn't fully explain it, because when we go and have a look at confident approach, what we are doing here is we are making every hit a critical hit. So every single hit is a crit, which means we also now apply critical damage, which is in theory lowered, but it's only lowered in situations where your critical hit chance is lower than 100. But if your critical hit chance is really close to 100, it's doing pretty much full damage. So we have that, but you may notice that it says, where else are we? Yeah. Oh, we also have this effect as well. So when you have 4 stacks or more, your attacks always deal maximum damage as well. So your attacks always crit. The attacks always deal maximum damage. This, however, would disable our base versatility damage. Except that we also have calm and steady. So what calm and steady does is this one allows us to keep half the bonuses from base versatility. So once we hit 4 stacks, we have versatility going, which has ballistic skill scaling damage, and it gives us ballistic skill. On the other side, we have confident approach, which is causing us to crit and always deal maximum damage. So we have that side. On top of that, we also have revel in slaughter, which gives you ballistic skill, which again causes your damage to scale. It gives you critical damage, which scales off your agi, which is incredible for her. And she has agility bonus % critical hit chance. Now you might be like, critical hit chance doesn't matter if you always crit. Well, it does, because the closer you are to actually critting, right? So if you have 95% crit, you're only losing a very, very small amount of critical damage, which is very important because your critical damage is as high as it can be. So you're continually scaling up for higher and higher and higher stuff. On top of that, we have other things that can appear. So we're not even going to talk about everything else she has, because she has other things that do apply, but we're not going to talk about them right now. We also have Jai. Jai, when we use Inspire, the target gains 5% damage and 5% additional damage for every 10 stacks of tactical advantage the Master Tactician has. So she's applying extra percentage damage on top of the percentage damage, which is crazy. We also have a sign objective, which I think we used, which gives 5 to characteristics. Characteristics including agility and ballistic skill, both of which scale Argenta's damage. So that's pretty good. We also have voice of command, which increases all characteristics by 16 for 1 round, which also means that all of her stats are increased. I actually think that we have something that makes this last longer. I'm fairly certain we took that, right? In officer. Oh, I don't know where it is, but yes, it does last longer. I already know. I know that that exists. So that buff is actually around for much longer. So she has even more ballistic skill and even more agility. So she's doing even more with it. On top of that, we do occasionally have her sitting in our rear bit, which gives her another 11% damage. And critical hit chance, which as we know puts her closer to actually critting, which means that she's closer to getting max critical damage. So we have that. On top of that, we also have joint analysis that we sometimes do that just adds a flat +3 to your damage, which then goes through the multipliers things, which is cool. And we have many other things which also apply extra damage to her, just naturally occurring. So although it's 3 to 5, it's 3 to 5 with a huge amount of extra buffs. So, yeah. That's why Argenta's a little scary. her number of buffs are incredible. Also, it's why if we have a combat that lasts more than, like, 2 turns, she becomes, like, insane. As we saw last time. Anyway, talking of insane, we have an insane chance to grab some loot. So let's grab some. Commissar's Arsenal. Ooh, what we dropping? Oh, it's a bolter. We'll take it. I actually don't know if a bolter is going to be better for Argenta because the rate of fire is so much lower, but it's worth having a look. Then we have an elite chainsword, Commissar Flak breastplate, int bonus to weapon skill and ballistic skill. I'm intrigued. I think we're the only int character who isn't using heavy armor. Could this be for us? Efficient armored body glove, so that's just armor without any penalties, which seems good. Battle plan. When the wearer uses press the advantage, they and their allies increase their resolve. Okay. Luck thickener. Each time the wearer uses a minor psychic power, all allies affected by this power gain 1 stack of the thick luck effect. Thick luck allows those affected to reroll a failed attack, dodge, or parry test and is then removed. Every time when 2 or more targets are damaged by the wielder's area attack, the wielder gains resolve momentum. After triggering a psychic phenomenon, the wearer immediately restores 2 times willpower bonus wounds and gains psi rating MP. After triggering Perils of the Warp, the wearer immediately gains 1 AP. And if only one of the wearer's combat tactics areas is in effect, the wearer gains 20 intelligence and fellowship. That's intriguing, because we use combat areas. Okay. Let's collect all of this and have a quick look. You know what? Actually, no. Let's open the other bit of loot first, then let's have a look, just in case, you know, this makes our first slot pointless. Okay. So we'll take all of this. Astartes chainsword. So, a chainsword for a space marine. Interesting. Combat shotgun. Good damage on it. A flamer. Okay. Serrated Glimmersteel blade. Each successful attack for this weapon increases the bleeding effect it inflicts by +3. Headhunter light carapace. Awareness divided by 10% dodge. I think I have someone who can use that. Ranger armor. This is Aldari weaponry. Or armor, which makes this weird. Yeah, okay. Whenever the wearer performs a single shot ranged attack from any cover, this attack gains awareness divided by 4% armor penetration. This seems like some of these are made for Urlet. Whenever the wearer dodges a melee attack, they gain 5 plus agi bonus % critical hit until the end of their next turn stacks. We then get some healing kits and some skin patches. Okay. Let's have a quick look in here then. So, newest to oldest. I mean, right now, I would say that the chainsword is probably for him, although he can't use Adeptus Astartes equipment. So, the comments have let me know, and I did kind of think it could be the case, that there are other companions that you can get in this area, as in this part of the game. They are also potentially on the cover of the game, which is why it's fairly obvious who it could be. This gives me an even bigger hint as to who it could potentially be. So, we will keep an eye out. That's all I'm going to say about that. Although if we could get him to be able to use it, that would also be great, because that seems like that would be better for us. But anyway, although his current weapon is pretty good, although you're also not meant to have his current weapon. Also, he should be using this one. Yeah. Okay, Bolter. I just don't think this is... I don't think this is going to outperform the heavy stubber. Because it shoots 3 shots, right? Yeah, that's just not going to outperform the heavy stubber. I just don't see... that's unless the enemy has deflection, in which case it might. I don't even think it's worth equipping over the sniper rifle, because I just don't see when you would use it. At least the sniper rifle gives you a better single shot. Elite chainsword. Okay, chainsword with extra damage on it. I mean, we could equip one with Lawbringer just to give us something that would give us parry. Yeah. That just literally gives us something that gives us parry while we have the Lawbringer out. That seems good. Okay. Where are we? Next, this one. Okay. So, instead of the Xenomesh, this one would give us int bonus to weapon skill and ballistic skill. Our int is currently 35, which is atrocious, but it will at some point be really good. Hey, our weapon skill is higher than it normally is as a base. Fantastic. Okay, we can kind of make... that is almost going to make our character work. Okay, then we have the body glove, which I kind of thought might be for you. I think it's just 35% armor, which seems good. Here, now you would think a ranger armor would be good, right? That gives her the 15% dodge against non-Aldari enemies, but I kind of thought this would be good. Although, she can't use it because she's Aldari, so that's fine. What's your awareness? Your awareness is 80. What's your awareness? 10. Okay, I've changed my mind. You're going to use this. So this is going to give you awareness percent dodge. So you now have 113% dodge. It's not awareness percent, it's awareness divided by 10% dodge, but you get the idea. And then you are going to have the body glove, which now gives you 35%. I didn't actually notice that that has an effect. Look at that. There is actually an effect to wearing that one. I didn't spot it on the other characters because they're wearing much larger gear. So it kind of covers that. I don't know what press the advantage is. I think that one might be from the officer path that we didn't take, maybe? Actually, I think it's from your path, potentially, right? No. I'm trying to remember who I saw. Somebody had it in the... yeah, somebody had it at one point. Take the... I'm just seeing... press the advantage. No, I don't see it in here. I don't know who has pressed the advantage. Somebody probably knows. It's not that one. I thought it was a first level thing. Maybe it is you. Oh, I need to go to one of these. No, so it's not one of those. An operative. Is it soldier? Maybe it was soldier. Press the advantage. No, I still don't see it. Okay, don't know. No idea where it is. I suppose it might be, if it's not in those, is it a master tactician thing? No. Is it a... it's not an assassin thing. You're a master tactician as well. Bounty hunter? Press the advantage. I don't see it in here. Arch militant? No. Okay, and then last one, Vanguard. I don't know what it is. I thought it was maybe something to do... I'm just going to double check. I know I'm... yeah, I know we've already had a look in places. Yeah, no idea. One last look. No, I was thinking of move. I think, maybe. Or something that you get from being a... I was thinking it could be something that you get from having a certain origin. But I also do not falter I might be thinking of. Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. Essentially, we don't have it as far as I'm aware. Or if we do, I can't remember what it is. So, that's fine. It doesn't give enough of a bonus for me to keep looking. Those are psychic powers, so we don't care. If only one of the wearer's combat tactics areas is active in combat, the wearer gains intelligence and fellowship. That's interesting. That's got potential good stuff. We'll equip it because we've got nothing else, but I am intrigued by that one. Combat shotgun. That does a reasonable amount of damage. I think I'll keep the trophy lasgun for now. Flamer would be instead of the sniper rifle. I do like it. It does have 2 different attack types which have low amounts of AP on them. The only problem is that it's not very good. So, yeah, I think that's the main problem there. Drukhari weapon proficiency. We have 2 people who can use that. 2? Yeah, 2 people who can use that. Do we want this? It does a lot of damage, but I think Lawbringer is a more likely scenario. Whenever you perform a single shot ranged attack from any cover, this attack gains awareness divided by 4% armor pen. Can you use this? Yes. Well, this seems like your kind of thing then. It's better than the other boots, which were, if you did not spend MP, double cover efficiency. And to be fair, well, what are our boots? At the start of the wearer's turn, again, dodge until the end of the round. Yeah, we could replace those. Those are kind of boots for you. Oh, you already have your boots, so let's not worry about you. Because you have your main boots and we're not changing your equipment. When you dodge an attack, you gain agi bonus critical hit until the end of their next turn. Sure, why not? You're the only person who can actually dodge, so you might as well. Right, that seems good to me. Ton of stuff. Let's quick save and then maybe survey the den. I don't know what surveying the den does. It lets you survey the den. Oh, okay. The resistance fighters are looking at you with a mixture of deep fear and deep respect. You dealt with the false commissar Ioko Sotsune, who sent many a desperate victim into a trap to entertain the Xenos masters. They do not have the guts to break the silence and speak to you. Okay. I'm just going to do that for now. Can I do this again? I just want to see what our options are when I do this. Yes. Okay. Cool. So that's a decide what to do thing. We're not quite there yet. We need to do some other things before we can do that. Okay. That's fine. Can I speak to Malice? The Sith has been gravely maimed, but his gaze remains proud, piercing, and malicious. The commissar repeatedly clutches at his throat, racked by a bloody, gurgling cough. Can I speak to everyone else here?
Lord Captain, I serve at your pleasure.
How are you feeling?
I fear, Lord Captain, that without the intervention of an experienced rejuvenate adept, I will not be able to overcome this frailty on my own. Blessed throne, it is hard to be a helpless old man. I always hoped I would die, long before the day my back and hands gave out. And look at me now.
You haven't seen your departed wife again.
I have not seen her, Lord Captain. But there are times when I think I hear her laughing in the distance. Or I sense hands touching me, as she used to do, to distract me from my sorrowful ruminations. But I know the difference between reality and fantasy. Now I fear I shall simply have to learn to live with this ghost that appears only to me. With this vision of the past.
Oh. Any thoughts on how we might get out of here?
I am sorry to say I do not. If we had our ship and crew at our disposal, we could be safely within its walls, conduct reconnaissance of this place, and in the end, meet our deaths in battle against the Xenos, as befits true servants of the God Emperor. However, we are deprived of our usual resources. Now we can only rely on our weapons and our wits.
Do you know anything about this place?
No, Lord Captain. And trust me, I hope to remain in this state of blissful ignorance until my dying day. Just knowing that this abyss exists at all is enough to poison my mind. It is possible the Xenos Elliot could tell you something about this place. After all, she is in some way related to its denizens, and she is responsible for the fact that we are here at all.
Abelard falls silent, but his eyes make it clear what he thinks of the Aldari's return to the ranks of your companions. Yeah. Abelard nods wordlessly and closes his eyes, both out of a desire to sleep and a desire not to see his surroundings for a short time. Okay. Argenta?
Rogue trader. Being reunited with the Emperor's Chosen is a balm to my soul.
You managed to learn anything about this place?
I have made no attempt to do so. What need do I have to know of the depravity of the enemies of humanity, when all I want is to burn it all in pure, raging flame? I already know all I need to. This place is evil, but there are servants of the Emperor here worthy of salvation.
Okay. Argenta is pretty much what we thought. We point her at the problem and we say, solve it. And she shoots it. There's no other things going on here, but that's okay. We need to find a way out of here.
We do. And I swear to fight for that end. And not to lose hope, even when deceit, corruption, and treachery surround us on all sides.
I told you, right? We said we need to find a way out of here. She says, yeah, I'll fight. No ideas or anything
May
coming out
Terra's
of
light
this.
be with you, Rogue Trader.
Just a pure desire to fight. Pascal?
May these instructions protect the machine spirits that serve me from the blasphemies of corrupted technology.
We've been betrayed, Pascal.
Reverse analysis is showing the act of sabotage to have been predictable. The directives for interacting with xenoraces warn about non-humans' proclivity for breaching contracts. The data concerning the unreliability of the unit Iliet has been archived.
Pascal's voice is dry and indifferent, but his drilling mechadendrite roars menacingly. How are you feeling after all the punishment your body has taken?
Functional parameters restored to suboptimal levels. In token of mourning for the loss of true flesh, the pain receptor blocking systems have been disabled. Algetic stimulation engaged in integral catharsis mode.
Do you ever regret turning down the opportunity to comprehend xenotech through your own flesh and blood?
This statement is false. The adjacency of xeno-augmetics to the sacred metal of the machine god and their interaction with it resulted in algorithmic paradoxes and the blasphemous consequences thereof. The Omnissiah purifies and protects.
The mechadendrite clicks its claws resolutely. Any valuable thoughts on how we can get out of here?
Strategic recommendation. Analysis has shown that the non-human community is racked by strife. Exploiting the Xenos' mutual differences can result in temporary alliances that will provide the technological means of returning the unit von Valancius to real space.
I do like how we're like, ooh, we could explore and talk to people and do things, and every one of our companions so far is just like, get me out of here, get me out of here. I don't care, I don't want to talk about Xenos, I don't want to talk to Xenos, I don't want to learn about Xenos, I just want to leave. And I'm like, okay, I understand. How does it feel to be in Komarag? It's a rare opportunity.
This place is calling out to the Omnissiah for an act of purifying and gracious xenocide. The spatial disharmony observed here points to its anathematic nature. That being said, complete extermination is not advised. Those in possession of technological knowledge should be rounded up and subjected to interrogation and vivisection prior to disposal.
I mean, you can feel bad for what happened to Pascal, but can we just point out that exactly what happened to him is exactly what he's saying to do to the Xenos, right? And I suspect he would have given this answer before what happened to him as well. Yeah. Just saying. I don't want to be it's all both sides here, but there's a little bit of that going on, which I think is probably the point of the setting to a degree. Don't lose your morale. We're going to make it.
May the filters of knowledge bestowed upon us by the machine god protect us from the temptations and horrors of blasphemous revelations.
Yeah, I don't think I'm meant to have this bit of dialogue here. I think this bit of dialogue is only meant to be when you're on the ship. There's obviously been something switched so that he thinks that he's on the... or the game thinks he's not, like, with us here. Or at least is at the ship, so I'm just gonna leave that bit. Yeah. Same with Abelard to a degree. Yeah, something went weird with them getting all their equipment back. Hello.
Let's see. Your lordship, rogue trader, Shireen, bane of my existence and savior of my flesh. Cruel fate has driven us straight into the foulest corner of the galaxy. Home sweet home to the Drukhari scum. I have it on good authority that no one leaves this place. Not alive, not dead, not even in pieces.
The grim seriousness and the thin, haggard body cannot belong to the Jay Hadara you know. Before you stands a soldier, tough and no nonsense. How are your lungs?
I've torn my throat to shreds with my coughing, Shireen. Every breath in is a torture worse than the Drukhari's poisoned whips. It feels like I'm choking on red-hot plasteel and washing it down with raw promethium. As she take me, I hope I make it to the Expanse's infirmaries.
Uh-huh. I'm reading what the blue text says, and I'm like, we did not convince her not to resort to the homunculus' services. We haven't been to the homunculus yet. Interesting. Did I do things out of the order expected for me? I did the side quest and the main quest. Okay. Whatever. Well. I'm still waiting for an explanation, Jai.
So what do you want to hear, Shireen? A children's tale about a beautiful princess? A ballad about a queen of thieves? How about a new story, Shireen? Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived on a sand-covered lump of rock, and the core of that rock contained untold riches for servants of the Imperium. The girl scraped out those riches with her little hands, breaking her back and coughing up her lungs, on behalf of people who had never clapped eyes upon her, and who would never know her name. She did this every day until she turned 16, and then his servants came and drafted the girl into the 19th Ifrit Regiment. Can you imagine? Of course, the regiment was wiped out on its first sortie, but the girl survived. The Exalted One protects. So what was next? Years serving in the Astra Militarum, just a shitload of hard labor, and fighting, and deals, and shady connections, and new opportunities. But everything in this world ends sooner or later, Shireen. The now not-so-little girl went and fell in with the Kasbalika. She saved up a little gold, and she even indulged in excess from time to time, until living the good life almost cost the little girl her head after her patrons got caught in an internal investigation between the Officio Prefectus and Departamento Munitorum. So the girl ran as fast as her little legs could carry her, until her eyes and the whims of fortune brought her to the Expanse. A shitty story, all things considered, Shireen.
Okay, well, we're gonna ask these in order. Do you have a family?
The folks on Footfall are my only family, Shireen. The trickster twins and the rest of the rabble, plain-talking and loyal as dogs. And sometimes as dull as the pommel of a worn-out blade.
So you used to be in the Imperial Guard.
Corporal Haydari reporting for duty, sir. I've had enough of the Astra Militarum shit to last a lifetime, Shireen. And my body's collected enough souvenirs from run-ins with Xenos and heretics to last 2 lifetimes. Except, When it comes to the guard, there's no such thing as used to be. That wretched life sank its claws into me good. But that also means I remember what it's like to be a small, shaking, insignificant pawn. And that's why I appreciate what I have now all the more.
How did you get involved with the Kasbalika?
What? You think it's difficult? Once me and my fellow guardsmen snuck into the upper city in search of a good watering hole where the high and mighty of that world congregated. Another time, our regiment was sent to defend the tallest spires on a hive world. And I had an epiphany. I saw how the other half lives. And by half, I mean the ones born with a diamond spoon in their mouth instead of an entrenching shovel rammed up their arse. My eyes were open to the truth, Shireen. The Imperium is full of opportunities, even for people like myself. The trick is knowing whose palms to grease, whose boots to lick, whose throat to squeeze, and whose arses to kick. I was very popular with everyone in the guard command, you see. I'd procure things for them, whatever they wanted. And so the Kasbalika took notice.
So you were a deserter as well?
You know, Shireen, I could still be bouncing around from one world to another, holed up on tired old ships with only venal grunts for company, if I hadn't decided I wanted more for my life. I accepted a shipment from the Kasbalika of certain chemicals. You know, for carnal pleasures and the like. Some bigwig was throwing a party to celebrate his 5th decade in the service. And that's when I caught the attention of the newly arrived commissar. I was rummaging through the pockets of Astra Militarum with one hand and shoveling the Kasbalikan cargo with the other. You can imagine what would have happened to my head had the commissar not started with my higher-ranked patrons.
Jai draws a thumb across her metallic throat and chuckles bitterly. Well, that explains the lung implant, but what about the hand?
It was orcs. Not everything I say is a lie, Shireen.
I see.
Whoop the fu- Never mind.
Okay then. Have you never once wanted to tell me the truth? I am more than just your patron, after all.
Not once, if you can believe it. By the way, Shireen, I'm not really a princess. I'm filthy underhive scum, and I've been lying to you the whole time. I would have been flung out of your bed so fast, it would take my scream a few seconds to catch up.
Okay. Well, I think what we're going to say is number 4 here. I cannot judge you. I too would prefer that my beloved see me as a prince rather than underhive scum. I mean, we were a crime lord, right? That's our background. From a hive world, I think it was. So I think that that fits us well.
I'm glad we understand each other.
About your new persona.
Don't give me that look, Shireen. The plotting nobles, the scheming footfall thugs, the mysteries of Xeno artifacts, the bowing and scraping before the self-indulgent ecclesiarchy. All that's gone. Everything beyond these walls melted away like a dream. I'm fighting for my life. My soul's being torn to shreds and my body's bleeding. Is it too much to ask to want to be myself, Shireen?
Well, if this is closer to the real you, then you can keep acting like this.
Sorry, Shireen, but that's not going to work. All the poor wretches on Footfall know me as the sweet-spoken lady from the hot planet. I've played the princess for too long to just smash her to pieces. But thanks for the kind words. It's good to know that my soldier's tongue hasn't scared you off.
Do you have any ideas about how we can get out of here?
That's a negative, Shireen. Hatching clever plans has been the last thing on my mind recently, you see? But on the bright side, while that Ashmag homunculus, may the ash he devoured that black-souled bag of bones, was busy experimenting on me, I managed to nick a couple of trinkets from his laboratory. Here, they may come in useful, if not for escaping, then at least for surviving in this rotten hole.
Okay. I'm gonna ask... Tell me your story one more time?
Once upon a...
That's fine.
Then his
I just
servants
wanted to
came
go into
and
here.
took the girl into the
Where did you
Astra
learn to read and
Militarum.
write?
The girl... Ah, literacy. My blessing and my curse. I nagged every highborn who visited our barracks on their highborn business. I pored over stamps on crates in the warehouse and the seals on every door. Watch the commanders do paperwork and volunteer to help. That's how I learned, one step at a time. And then literacy became my ticket to a comfortable life.
Jai sets back her shoulders, obviously very proud of herself. Is Jai your real name, at least?
I swear on the grave of my drunkard father who sold me into the mines, and on the lives of the 11 siblings I never had, Shireen.
No, it is most definitely not. Okay. Is there anything you did not lie to me about, Jai?
There are some things I've never lied to you about.
Alright, very well, thank you for the answers.
Like I had a choice, Shireen. I know better than to bite the hand that pours my amasak.
Remain vigilant, I shall need your help yet.
Sir, yes sir, your lordship, Shireen. I'll be here, all primed and ready to go.
Jai's lips curve into a faint smile now that the seal of silence has shackled them, has shackled them for years has finally been broken. Okay. And now we have Erlet. Or Erliet, as they've been saying, so I might say that if it's said again. Hello.
You came back from the dark, Elentark? Unharmed.
Although Erliet's sharp features remain the same, the deep shadows around her eyes and her listless gaze give her the appearance of a living corpse. The Aldari looks withered, haunted, despondent. When you approach, the relentlessness in her eyes is replaced with a faint glimmer of hope. I want to know why you did it. Everything, from the beginning to end.
I tried to learn to trust you, Elentark. Whatever your motives, you did not turn away from me, and you helped me search for my kin. But despair ate at me from within. The human journeys through the realm of she who thirsts left my soul drained, and our attempts to save the children of Kruderak crumbled to nothing in the unending coldness of the dark cosmos. And even when I beheld a piece of Kruderak in your chambers, I wanted to believe you had nothing to do with it. I wanted to, but I succumbed to emotion, to fear, to hopelessness, to grief. I was afraid that Silent Thrash would find me before I found the truth.
Okay. What's interesting is that this is not blue. So we had opportunities to speak with the Aldari that we failed checks for. But the fact that this is not blue tells me that this is not a thing that could have been changed significantly. So, this is kind of a set in stone moment.
Which is why I tried to find my dark cousin on the day he attacked Argonis. I used the commotion to slip away unnoticed and wandered the streets like a shadow in search of its owner. My efforts were futile. I returned to the palace in confusion. I waited for my fresh wounds to stop aching and for the watchfulness of the surrounding monkey to fade like the mist on an autumn morning. But still, I had my doubts. Perhaps, I thought, I should discuss it openly with you.
One thing I should say, when I say this is set in stone, I'm meaning that we couldn't have changed the finding the children of Kruderak bit, or her finding the thing in our chambers. But, if you were on a different path of the game, obviously things would change. If you didn't recruit her, then obviously that would change. But what I'm meaning is, if you got to this conversation, you could not get to this conversation and have a different outcome. Right? If that makes sense.
That monkey Achilles. There was something wrong about him. He kept disappearing at night, so one day I followed him. Achilles was contacting Marajai, using an artifact that transmitted his master's orders. That is how I learned that the burnt monkey was about to betray you, which meant my only chance to discover the fate of my homeworld was about to slip through my fingers. I could not wait any longer. I killed Achilles, took the artifact, and demanded answers from Marajai. He hinted at where I could go to look for the truth. You know what happened next.
Okay. So he is definitely dead. I'm a little confused about question number 1. Did you kill him? Well, yes, I would say in the final line of this dialogue that you did kill him. Why do I get the feeling that this act had some severe rewrites at some point? And some severe, like, other things put on top of it. The fact that it's using the same areas over and over again as well is interesting. It makes me feel, I don't know if this is correct, but it makes me feel like this part of the game was different at one point, and now we're getting this version of it. Same with the dialogue. It's all. It seems like this was different at some point, and now we're getting a different version of it. I don't know what it was before, but anyway. Did you kill Achilles? Yes, you did, but okay.
My words will hardly console you, Elentark, but I killed the traitor. I fear the Dark Ones left too many scars on his fragile soul. Your loyal monkey broke, so I gifted him a swift death, free from the shame of betrayal.
We went through all that and you didn't even learn anything?
Alas, my cousin fell out of favor with the Archon. But even so, I doubt Marajai would reveal the truth. At least not before his dark soul was suffused with my suffering.
Enough about that. How are you?
My body has already healed. The wounds of the soul will heal one day too. For suffering is a part of our life, not unlike love and fear and the desire to learn. The paths help the children of Asuryan to endure any spiritual upheaval. And you, Elentark, did not allow me to stray from mine. For this, I am grateful. And yet, neither rest nor healing salves, or even our reconciliation, can soothe the savage turmoil in my soul, Elentark. Kruderak is lost, and the bud of truth never opened before me. What happened to my kinsmen? What happened to my world? And why did the Dark Cousin tell me less than he knew?
There is a roiling darkness in Erliet's emerald eyes that seems to search for the very bottom of your soul. What happened to you after the trial?
I was meant to share your fate, Elentark, and vanish in the Dark City's rotting underbelly. But the Fleshmaster gave a different order. His twisted mind was beset by a question. Could a child of Asuryan be saved from the gaze of she who thirsts with intense re-education? By replacing the influence of my spirit stone with the heady tang of pain that nourishes the followers of the dark ways?
Oh, we have a chance to see what these actually are and confirm whether I got these right. Yes, Aldari term for the Chaos God Slaanesh is She Who Thirsts, which is what we thought in Spirit Stone. Precious psychoreactive crystals worn by living Asuryani as a means of sanctuary against the perditions of Slaanesh. Okay, they begin as waystones whose purpose is to capture the wearer's soul at the moment of death, thus becoming spirit stones. Okay. And you could be saved from the gaze with re-education, turning you into Drukhari, effectively.
I donned the executioner's mantle. They allowed me to keep my spirit stone in exchange for the suffering of others. I survived, prayed for Asuryan's mercy, and hoped to escape before the stone cracked under the torrent of pain and terror assaulting my soul. Before the experiment was complete.
What do you know about this place?
Kamora. This city grinds down the will of the strong and torments any who get tangled in its dark web. The fools are the first to die, and the shrewd perish regardless. I have never been here before, but few children of Asuryan manage to escape the dark city without surrendering a part of their soul. So what is it that you wish to know?
Who rules the Dark City?
An ancient and powerful Drukhari named Asdrubael Vecht. the supreme overlord of the Cabal of the Black Heart, who reigns over all of the Drakari with an iron fist. My dark kin consider him to be a living god. Much like your emperor on the Golden Throne, Vecht sits upon a throne of darkness and suffering that keeps Comora's disparate clans from disintegrating. I would not want to meet him if I were you, Elantak.
What about cities other than Comorak?
There are no other cities, Elantak. The Dark City has no bounds. It is a tangle of countless nightmare domains subject to a single ruler. An endless amalgamation of ever-changing and immutable dimensions. You cannot grasp its tenebrous grandeur, for even my life will not be long enough to visit all corners of the Dark City and the realms that border it. But it hardly matters where you go, for death lurks on every corner.
Do you know how we can get out of here?
The Dark City is pierced by millions of spires, and a webway gate may be hidden in any of them. It is the only way out of this place, and an impassable obstacle to any who do not know how to operate it. I know, and will help you should you so desire.
Okay, I have other questions.
But do I have the answers that you seek?
Nope, gather your strength and there are more trials yet to come.
Elantak, I promised that I would no longer hide my worries behind an icy wall of pride and doubt. And so I want to explain myself. But are you willing to hear me out?
Yes? Did we not just do this? I've been waiting for an explanation from you.
Not here. The words of my truth are intended only for your ears, Elantak.
What, are you taking me to my chambers on the ship? No, okay. I mean, you have taken me somewhere else, but that's okay. Oh, also it's that we've gone somewhere else and now there's no voice acting. Malachi, I. Earliet's unusual pride and arrogance give way to awkwardness and confusion. This is my first time ever having to explain myself like this, but you, more than anyone, deserve to know the truth. I understand how unworthy I am in your eyes. This may sound like a ridiculous excuse, but I did not want to betray you, Malachi. I only wished to learn the truth about Krudorak's demise and find my kin. When I saw the shard of my world in your dwelling, that trophy mounted on the wall, I was beside myself with fear and rage. When my dark cousins whispered in my ear that he knew the answer to my questions, I made a mistake. I trusted my kin, and fearing that you might refuse me if you were to know where I had been getting my orders from, I simply asked you to direct your ship to the particular system. Did I trust Marazai? No, of course not. I thought he spoke of my kin's location to crush my soul, that he wanted me to go there and find only death instead of them. But hope for the better prevailed over my faith in you, Elantak. Earliet sighs awkwardly, avoiding your gaze. Filled with hope, the thought never even crossed my mind that this single thread forever slipping from my grasp would lead us into the very heart of the Dark City. I'm sorry, Malachi. I wanted you to know that. Okay. What were we gonna say? Your faith in me, did I hear that right? Earliet looks you straight in the eye. The time I spent with you, our conversations, the glow of your soul that only I can see. His faith with you, she stammers at a loss for words. Okay. I already told you I know nothing about the shard. The trophy belonged to Theodora, my predecessor. So, you are not the one to blame for the destruction of Krudorak, but your blood is. Earliet purses her thin lips. No, I will not condemn you in your blood. No more. My accusations have already cost us too much. I have always been honest with you, Earliet. You, however, lied to me from the start. Earliet lowers her head in shame. There is indisputable truth to your words. I should have realized sooner that you're worthy of more than I offered you. You're worthy of my trust. Forgive me my arrogance, Malachi. Well, we are a forgiving person. I understand why you did that, and I forgive you. Urliette's eyes widen in surprise. I give you my word, Malachi. I will never betray your trust ever again. You have shown great compassion by accepting me and forgiving my deed. I do not know if I would have been able to do the same. It pains me to know the hardships that you had to endure because of me, and you still suffer. This cursed arena, in this cursed city, I also... Urliette pauses as if hesitant to continue. My soul is crushed, Elentak. The loss of Krudarak, the horrors of Komarag, the Drukari's attempts to re-educate me. I have fully paid the price. I have lost my path and can no longer meditate. My body and my soul know no peace now. That means she who thirsts will turn her predatory gaze on me. Okay. Let's see what we're going to say here. You are unable to meditate? That can happen. I've heard stories about Eldari unable to reach their inner world because of anguish or madness. And every story had a tragic ending. How are you going to regain your powers now? I do not know. Sincere hopelessness rings in Urliette's voice. I'm not going to say 3 because I'm fairly certain that leads down the romance path. Just assuming there is one. I cannot help with meditation, but I'm prepared to stay with you and share the silence. That way you will be able to forget about the horrors of Komarag, if only for a little while. Urliette freezes for a second and gestures for you to take a seat nearby. We had a saying on Krudarak. In silence you can hear a heartbeat, the music of the soul trying to burst out. Please, share this wordless song with me, Malachi, and it may bring peace to us both. Okay. Did that give us anything? I was just looking there, I was like, the way she said peace to us both, I was like, maybe that'll give us, you know, one of our things away. Like one of our mental problems. But, you know, turns out a worm in your head can't be solved with meditation. Okay. Interesting. Well, now we're going to save and do this. I am also a little worried, just minorly worried, about Jai's conversation. And not because of anything she said, but because of that blue text that said we had made a choice. And we had made a choice at the Anatomical Opera. Because we haven't been to the Anatomical Opera. So how could we have made that choice? It doesn't make any sense. Now, does the game think we've been there? Potentially. Is the dialogue just not expecting you to have done this quest first? Potentially. But it leaves you in a very awkward situation. Right. Survey the Dead. It could mean that things have triggered and moved forward in the game, which we don't expect. Let's see what we're going to say. Let's go for this. There is something you must know. The man who called himself Commissar was a traitor and accomplice of the Xenos. His promises of escape were nothing but lies. Shocked murmur runs through the ranks. One fighter sobs, his face twisted in grief, while another whispers a string of curses, his fists clenched. One of the warriors, a woman with a stern face and a grim voice, says firmly, "Then there is no hope. We are doomed to remain captives of the Xenos. But a clean death is a better fate by far. We beg your lordship to grant us the Emperor's peace." Let's see what we're gonna say here. I'm just thinking of how we want to handle this. I'm not quite gonna say we're gonna die as heroes. I think we might say that we'll give them our word that we'll leave. That we will lead them out. I've not relieved you yet, it's a little bit too much. I'm not going to kill them, but I am tempted to go for 5. Why throw your lives away for nothing? We have a gang, we have a hideout, we will try to survive. I think I like that. Is whether we want to go for rogue trader answer or survival. The way I'm trying to think of how we're going to RP our character in our head, right? Obviously, we've been acting like a rogue trader because that has been our role outside of here. But if our character was meant or was originally crime lord into rogue trader, then I think 5 could work, right? We adapt to our surroundings. As a rogue trader, we act like a rogue trader. As somebody trying to survive in the streets of Komarag, we act as someone trying to survive in the streets of Komarag. I think we say 5. Why throw your lives away for nothing? We have a gang, we have a hideout, we will try to survive. You catch a look of displeasure coming from the Commissar's most fervent fighters, but the majority greet your words with weary relief. You hear whispers among the crowd. Well, why not? Maybe we will survive. Malice's thugs were doing alright for themselves, and we'll do fine just without the Emperor. The Commissar is no longer in charge of this unit. Any objections? The Commissar's former fighters shake their heads in fear. No, none, your lordship. Where did Malice keep his trophies? They are mine now. One of the Resistance fighters points to a container filled to the brim with loot. This is everything we found in this vile den. We searched all of that sly Xenos' secret caches and stashes. Tell me, Malice, do you have something stowed away? Some extra special stash? Who can say, humanling? You can tear the den apart piece by piece. You can torture me. You'll find nothing. We Slith know how to shut out our sense of pain, and will suppressors have no effect on us. There's only one way to get your hands on my treasure. Open the cage, give me a knife, get on your knees and let me carve your throat open. I'll reveal the secret to you as you die. Okay. What are we gonna say? We're not going to say in the next fight you're coming with me, you should make the arena drink of Xenos blood. That seems like not really our objective right now. Do you wish to repent, traitor? The Commissar, whose proud features are utterly ruined, says in a gurgling voice, enjoy your victory while you can. Komarag will rip your head off quicker than it did mine. We'll see who is sitting in whose cage. Okay. Well, I see you do not feel any remorse for your vile misdeeds. Not yet. Well, you still have time. The Commissar shoots you a venomous glare. To Malice, you should have shown me greater hospitality when I first came to you. Malice's entire body is covered in grisly wounds. One of his arms has been nearly torn off and is now hanging by sinew. A human would have long since died from such injuries, but Malice does not even look like he is on his last legs. Laugh away, humanling. You've won. Betrayed the one who aids you. That's life and aspires. Okay. When the Humunculus' servants come to collect the gladiators, I'll be sending you to the arena? Huh. I don't know what we're going to say here. You see, I feel like we should have gone to the other place first. Yeah, I feel like we should have gone to the opera first. Yeah. Interesting. Because it seems like we're going to have something with the Homunculus, who I assume has to be there. You did save my life, I'm letting you go. I'm just like... It does seem a little bit short-sighted. Say enjoy your imprisonment. Okay, and then we can leave. Can I do anything else here? I just want to see what it lets us do now. We may just reload the whole thing. Okay. What we're going to do here is I'm going to reload the whole thing. Yeah, I'm going to reload the whole thing. Not everything we've done today, but like that last quick save. The reason I'm doing this, and I'm going back, is because I don't want to do anything until I know what we're actually doing. And I assume we have to go to the other place to find that out. Which is interesting. I don't really know what the game's expecting. I assume it thinks that we've been there first, but I don't know. Worst case scenario, we reload 2 episodes ago as save, and we see how that is, and we run through the opera, and then we come back and do the Commissar stuff, because we can do all the conversation in like 2 minutes once we're happy with it, because, you know, a lot of the conversation is listening to them speak. If you don't listen to them speak, conversations are a lot quicker. But hopefully everything just works. I'm a little apprehensive about it, but yeah, we'll find out next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.